Okay, this is going to be a continuation of where we left off in our last video. We were talking about the different FSMO roles, and we touched on domains and trust. I wanted to revisit this because it's very important. It's a short portion of Active Directory when it comes to the different components, but it's very important. So there are going to be times where if you're working for an organization, there's going to be some type of acquisition of some sort, and you're going to need to establish a trust with another domain. So that's where Active Directory trust, domains and trust comes into. We're going to go over this really quick, and I just want to give you a quick overview of it and how it works and the different components within it. Okay, here we are. We're back over on our test box, and we want to go over here to Tools again, and we're going to go to Active Directory, Domains and Trust, and talk about the different properties. So originally in our first video, we talked about our domain functional level and our forest functional level. So if we can see here, we can raise our function level, and because our environment is already based off of a Server 2012 environment, the highest we can go is Server 2012 R2. If this was a 2008 environment and we were bringing 2012 servers into the environment, what we would do is we would raise our functional level up. And what we'd have to do first is we'd have to get rid of we have to downgrade our 2008 servers. So we would then evict those out of the domain. So we would go ahead and run like DC promo and demote those servers and get them down to a regular server, remove them from the domain. Then we'd come back into here and we'd be able to raise our forest level, because at that point we can make it just a 2012 environment. So if we right click here on our domain itself, we can see here we can raise our function level. So again, this would be the domain functional level. So because we only have 2012 domain controllers, we can only go to 2012 and we can't lower it. Well, because we don't have any 2008 servers or anything like that. But if we would have started with 2008 servers, the lowest we could have went was 2008. And as far as going above that, we could not go above 2008 either, because 2008 servers being in the environment, the highest we can go is the lowest server we have in the environment. So in order for them to be able to talk. But once you raise these levels up, the great thing about it is that you get new group policy objects within the environment that you can work with. So as operating systems get newer, you get other controls to being able to control those systems, police them more or less. So if you've got a 2012 environment, you can then police and add group policies to clients like Windows 2010, 2007, 8. You can still apply that to Windows 2011 and anything else that comes out. But as other functions come out for those types of operating systems, you'll have to make sure that your domain controllers are up to date with the latest group policies so that they can take advantage of those computers. So from there, we're going to right click again here. I'm going to actually right click here, go back over here to the forest level. And if we can see here, if we go here to our operations master, like we looked at before, here's our operations master here. If we were over on the other server and we wanted to change that, I'm going to right click again here and we can change Active Directory domain controller. So if we wanted to connect to the second server in our environment, we could from there. Again, we can click on properties right here. When we go into properties here at a functional level, this is going to be for our UPN, our suffix name. Mainly this will come into play if you had an acquisition of people and you have two CEOs that, and maybe one came from another company, you have your current CEO, but he really liked the name of his company, and they get into this big argument and you decide like, hey, we need to have our name here. And you say, hey guys, quit fighting. I can help you out. I'll add a UPN name. And when you add that name in, for an example, when they go to log on to their computers, they'll just type this name in instead of the current lab name. So in this case, so if they type in, like, let's say we add target.com, we're going to say apply and click OK. This will become a log-on name that folks will be able to use to log on to their computers. Gonna right click again here, go down here to the domain name itself, right click here and go to properties. And this is where we come in to start talking about domains and trust. In some of our previous videos, we talked about if we had forest level trust between two particular domains, that there become a time where we have to do trust relationships. Well, that'll be now. And so we'll come in here and we'll select new trust. We'll go through the wizard here. We'll click next, and then this would be the company that we'd want to connect to. For an example, this could be, in our previous example, we used one called New Lab. New Test Lab, I believe is what it was called. So what'll happen is that it'll go out and it'll try to query this name over the web. But in this case here, I don't have that other lab set up, but we're going to click next. So the things that happens here is it goes out, hits DNS, tries to query that particular name, and then it'll come back and then it will move forward within the process. And what'll happen here is you have to establish a trust on both sides of the network. So you would have some type of VPN or something like that set up between the two environments, and then you would come through this process here of setting up your trust. So more than likely, you're going to do a trust with a Windows domain, or you're going to do the realm. I suggest doing the realm because the trust here at the domain level hardly ever works. So normally I just do the realm trust. Select next here. And this talks about what the level of trust is going to be between the objects that are going to be accessed within the environment. Normally, you want to select a transit trust down here at the bottom, and then you'll select next. And then you want to say it's going to be a two-way trust so that you can access things in both environments. I mean, if you guys are going to be accessing folders and objects of that sort and printers on both networks, normally you want to go through and select a two-way trust. Then you select next. You'll provide a trust relationship password. This password will be the same on both sides of the network. So you'll give the admin on the other side of the network the same password that you're using over here. And you both will select next, then you'll select next, and then you'll select finish. And you probably saw the prompt there at the end said, like, before this can work, it has to be done on both ends. So now you can see here we have an incoming trust and an outgoing trust. Okay. So this last tab here is just going to be the managed by, and this normally be managed by some admin, and their information will get populated here before, just like I showed you before in the management process. All right, and so to see how the UPN name comes into play here, I'm actually going to close here, and we're going to go over to Tools. We're going to go to Active Directory, Users and Computers. And we're going to go to our lab user and over here in accounting, and we're going to go to them. We're going to select properties. Going to select their account here, and you can see here, here's the drop down here, and now you can see target.com. So instead of before it was at testlab1.local, and now it's at target.com. So now this person's going to log on with the at target.com. So we're going to say okay here, and we're going to jump over to that machine and log in. Okay, we're back over on our test machine here, and we're going to go ahead and log in with our new logon because they don't like our lab domain name. So we're going to go ahead and use another logon. So we're going to use the one we created with the UPN. And it's going to just be a backslash here in this case here because we're doing it at target.com, which is the UPN we specified. All right, and so we created the user and it was lab user one. That was the one that was actually in our accounting department. And now we're logging in. You can see here it's saying welcoming. Takes a few moments to log us in there. So let's see here what happened. So it says here, username and password is incorrect. So we know for sure that this is our user, this is our domain here. And the reason why this doesn't work is that we have to use a @ symbol. So if you remember seeing in that screenshot, there was an @ symbol. So now you'll log on with a, looks like an email address. All right. And so now you can see here we're logged in. So I wanted to show you the two examples there, and I wanted the one to fail to actually show you that you can't just use the domain name, because again, it's not a domain name, it's a user principal name. So it logged in with a email address of a sort. So you can see here, we select the user, everything still looks the same. If we I think we can do a number of things to be able to show the particular user, even if we type in the set command like we did before, and we can see here, and if we go up here now to our logon servers, I'm going to go up here and look for our server that logged us on here, and you can see here is our logon server here. I'm going to just highlight it for us. And you can see here, this was the server that logged us on, the lab ADO1. So even though users want to use their name, which is going to be an @ symbol, get user principal name, it still logs them on to the network the exact same. They can access the same resources as normal. So I just want to give you a quick example of the Active Directory domains and trust, and hopefully that was informative. And again, I'd like to thank you for viewing. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them, and we'll be sure to respond back to you.